Welcome to tonight's version of Nihi Bisita. We do hope that you enjoy watching them as much as we enjoy putting them together for you. We have a very nice program tonight. I think you'll like it. Virtually every school child on Guam has at least attempted to draw a picture of the Guam seal. It is a relatively easy and fun thing to do. First, a coconut tree, then the shoreline with the Agania River emptying into the sea, followed by the Retidian Point, and then finish it off with a little white boat. Our episode today is about this little white boat, which caught the attention of European visitors to the Marianas for hundreds of years. These early visitors were not tourists, easily impressed with something unusual. They were explorers, navigators, and hardened sailors whose lives depended on their knowledge of the seas and of boats sailing them. While the Lottie Stones garnered attention, the legendary proa captured the imagination of seasoned mariners everywhere. Diarists and journalists on early expeditions were so entranced with the design, the swiftness, and the beauty of this boat that none other than Magellan himself named the Chamorro Islands Islas de las Velas Latinas, the islands of the Latin sails, owing to the triangular shape of their pandanus sails. Expeditions frequently reported being greeted by dozens and dozens of proas, playfully circling and following alongside at faster speed than the ship itself. These scenes are the closest we could get to depicting what it must have been like to be greeted in such a manner. The proa got so much attention because, as one journalist put it, the construction of the proa is a direct contradiction to the practice of all the rest of mankind. For as the rest of the world make the head of their vessels different from the stern, but the two sides alike, the proa, on the contrary, has head and stern exactly alike, but their sides different. The boat can change directions without turning around by simply shifting the sail, at which point the stern becomes the bow, and the bow becomes the stern. The outrigger provided counterbalance to the sail to keep the proa on an even keel for the safety of the crew and the cargo. Reports on the size and speed of the proa differ widely in various reports by observers. It would appear, however, that there were three sizes varying in length from 10 to 40 feet, but were all disproportionately narrow for their length. Apparently, the small proa was used for inside the reef, the medium-sized one was used for deeper waters, and the large size was used for inter-island travel. Some observers reported speed of up to 20 miles per hour under favorable wind conditions. In this scene, Johnny Riorti makes a quick turn with his sailboat by turning it around. If he were on a proa, he could change directions without turning the boat around by simply shifting sails. In effect, he could go one way, stop, shift sails, and go the other way, as shown in this film reversal. The surfer rides the waves and is at its mercy. Similarly, an ordinary boat bounces like a cork in choppy waters. On the other hand, the proa was designed to more or less glide over the surface, much like this ski is doing. But the proa was also known to be like a flying fish, and hence the name flying proa. Perhaps this rock bouncing over the surface of the water illustrates the fabled ability of the proa to master the waves rather than be subdued by it. By 1817, about 300 years after they were first reported so dramatically, the Chamorros had completely ceased to build proas. Disease and warfare had taken its toll on the Chamorros, and the skills required to build a simple but elegant proa were not passed on to the next generation. Dependency on the European administrating authorities replaced the challenge to master the sea and harvest its resources. The Galaide subsequently replaced the proa, but it was much slower and it was propelled primarily by paddles rather than sails. This scene at Agania Bay, which was the inspiration for the design of the Guam seal, shows a young coconut tree has replaced the dying one in front of it as nature regenerates itself. But the precious little white boat, once the envy of international seafarers, is gone. It perished from human neglect and is now but a footnote in our ancestral history. A similar fate awaits many things dear to us naturally and culturally, unless we rally around programs designed to protect and preserve them. And finally, for those who challenge the utility of the outrigger that our ancestors attached on their little white boats, you don't need one if you happen to be on calm sea, just 10 yards from shore, in 4 feet of water. It has been our pleasure bringing you tonight's episode. We'll see you next week. Guam, Ben Blaz. Buenas noches.